Today I'd like to talk about hope spirituality. I guess it's pretty obvious where I stand on this point. So let's talk about what I mean by this. We're all guilty of participating in this ineffective approach to spirituality. Hope spirituality is more or less a condition, a way of approaching spirituality where you presume that it'll all just work out in the end, where that the universe is simply taking care of you and things are happening in the way that they're supposed to be happening, that synchronicity is taking place, that it's all connected and there's nothing you have to do, that everything's in its right place. And now be honest, some of what I just said there you believe. Some of what I just said there sounds true to you. And if I'm honest, I have to say the same thing. Yeah, there is some truth to this recognition that everything is happening just according to plan and nothing's off course. There is an element of truth to that. However, but, caveat, all of those things, exclamation point, oops, if you get caught only in that, then that can give you an excuse. It can enable you essentially to do nothing. It can enable you simply to sit back and to hope that it all works out in the end. And I guarantee you that's a recipe for being caught at your particular place in spirituality for years. It's a recipe for no growth. It's a recipe for being stuck for a decade without any significant movements forward. So you have to have some sort of balance where you have a wise approach in a general sense, knowing that that the universe, yes, is taking care of you. But you got to remember this: you are in fact part of the universe, and you're an intelligent, multifaceted, and complex creature, and you've been given all of these gifts and elements of your being that you have essentially control over, that you can utilize or not utilize, that you can be creative with or you cannot be creative with. So I highly recommend that you become proactive, that you become action-oriented with your spirituality and not hope-oriented. This action orientation towards spirituality will then eventually, slowly, start to manifest as small incremental changes. And then, oops, a big change. And then the big aha, the big oops at the end of the road, right, is this fundamental falling into who you really are and discovering the truth about this reality. So, hope spirituality is in a general blue-collar sense, not something that you're going to want to rely on. Praying, fantasizing, begging, and presuming that it's just all going to work out. Generally, is not an effective approach. So then what is the approach? I've already spoken about action. What are the actions? What are the things that you can do that move you forward that don't go to the opposite end of the spectrum, where now you're completely controlling your spirituality. Now you're trying to steer the ship. Now you're way too much in the way. See the balance here? It is a razor's edge. Because you don't want to do that. You don't want to be someone who's fanatically trying to get there, and you're just getting in your own way. So you first of all have to understand, embrace this subtle paradox that it's a tug of war that kind of goes back and forth. I taught a class last night here in Charlottesville, and one of the things that we talked about was this. When you get further on in the path of spiritual awakening, you tend to go in short bursts where you do heavy amounts of effort, and you might do a workshop, you might do a course, you might do some interaction with other students with some sort of teaching, and then you back off. So there's that backing off period is this allowing for what you've learned to actually to grow. So there's this that during that time, yes, then you're allowing the universe to take its place. But then the other side of that is having this action. So the action that is required for spiritual awakening. What do I do? You know, that's a very common question. That's if not the question, right? Well, what am I supposed to be doing? If you look at all of the videos online that are about Advaita Vedanta or non-duality, there doesn't seem to be, not only is it non-duality, there seems to be a whole lot of non-doing, right? And you just sit there and as if from one moment to the next you're just magically going to get it. That's a big part of what I'm talking about with Hope Spirituality. That you just hope that if you just go sit with one more teacher, you just watch one more video, that you're just going to magically get it. I can attest to the fact, and a lot of my friends who are teachers and spiritually awake also can attest to the fact that this process is a very messy psychological and biological process, and that there's no cut and dry element to it of just simply waking up. So I hope that this, there's the word hope, right? I genuinely hope for you, hope coming from heart, coming from body, coming from full being, that you are able to see what I'm talking about here. That you need to get up out of your chair. You need to not sit at home on a Friday night or a Thursday night. That you need to get away from your computer, that you need to put the book down, that you need to get out and interact with people, with groups of people who are interested in the same spiritual things that you are interested in. And find someone who, like myself, is crazy and willing to raise his or her hand and say, yeah, I've been through this and I'm happy to help you. Really important to do this. So that takes it out of the realm of hope spirituality and puts it into the realm of beautiful, action-oriented, experiential spirituality, which then has the opportunity and the capability to transform your life. And that's really what it's all about. That's what I'm doing all of these videos for. This whole website, my whole approach is about, as you've seen, is about nuts and bolts transformation. So I wish that for you. I hope in the genuine sense that for you. And I think we'll leave it at that. Thank you very much. Why don't leave a comment here about maybe some of the traps that you've fallen into that are sort of like hope spirituality. Adios for now, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.